All right, let's finish off the muscles of the lower extremity with talking about the butt wink, squats, and shin splints. All right. Now the butt wink, if you look at when you're doing a squat, and we'll take care, but it should be perfect, straight, where the back is nice and straight. And you see where his butt is kind of winking down here. Well, he runs out of real estate right here. What I mean by he running out of real estate is that's the structure of his hips. Remember the acetabulum and the head of the femur and how they sit, how it's rotated. If it's normal, then you should be able to go squat all the way down. That's 125 degrees. Now, if your head of the femur is only 105, cox vara, you may not be able to go down as far. If the cox vara, 140, if it's more, now this is how you're born with. So people that try to force a squat or try to go down more than it causes, you're going to pinch. You're going to pinch the labrum. You're going to have hip flexor issues. You're going to have labrum issues. You're going to have pain. So your structure limits the function, meaning if you're structurally, your bones don't fit, or you're going to actually try to go further than they can, you're going to actually cause some issues. So I'll show you a video from Squat University where they show you how to find out what your stance is. Okay. Now, again, squats versus deadlifts. I've kind of emphasized deadlifts, glute med, quads, adductor magnus soleus, hamstrings, gastroc, erector spinae, traps, middle trap, upper levator, scap, rhomboids, rectus abdominis, obliques. I mean, you can't go wrong with the deadlift. Make sure you're doing it right though. And then squats, quads, glute max, adductor magnus soleus, hamstrings, gastrocnemius, erector spinae, rectus abdominis, and obliques. So squats are good too, but then the deadlift will add some girth into your upper traps as well, right? So if you look at pound for pound, which ones are better? Well, squat versus deadlift. Deadlift's going to incorporate a little bit of upper extremity as well. Okay. Now, let's look at the muscles of the leg of the anterior compartment. You've got the tibia here. You got the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, fibularis brevis and longus. Here's tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, and the extensor digitorum longus. So that extends the toes. That will extend the big toe. That dorsiflex inverts. Okay. Now, shin splints, those that run, I'm sure you have suffered that sometime in your running career. And so the tibialis anterior originates on the lateral tibia, interosseous membrane, inserts on the medial cuneiform and metatarsal 1. It's innervated by the deep fibular nerve. What does it do? It dorsiflexes and inverts the foot, resists backward tipping. So imagine you're on a boat and you're going to tip backwards. Well, the anterior tib will prevent that, and it supports the arch. So if you have weakness in your tibialis anterior, and if you have flat feet, what's going to happen is you're going to get a little overpronation, and then eventually it'll cause micro tears and cause shin splints. Now the tibialis posterior is also responsible for shin splints because it originates on the proximal half of the tibia fibula interosseous membrane, inserts on the navicular cuneiforms metatarsals 2 through 4, innervated by tibial nerve, but it controls pronation and inverts the foot. So if it can eccentrically control pronation, and if you have flat feet and you don't have much of an arch, then you're going to get shin splints as well. So work the tibialis anterior and posterior to really get your lower leg or your leg strong. Remember, your leg is here, and this is your thigh. Okay, this is not your leg. People refer to their thigh as their leg. No, this is the thigh, this is the leg. So here's the anterior group. Okay, you have the extensor hallucis longus right in here. Okay, originates on the medial aspect of the fibula, interosseous membrane, inserts on the distal phalanx of 1, deep fibular nerve, and extends the big toe. And it also dorsiflexes the foot. Now you got the extensor digitorum longus right here. That originates on the lateral condyle of the tibia, shaft of fibula, interosseous membrane. Inserts on the middle and distal phalanges 2 through 5. Nerve, deep fibular nerve, and extends the toes and also dorsiflexes the foot. fibularis longus, which is laterally. Sometimes you'll see fibularis, which is on the fibula, but you also see peroneus, peroneus longus and brevis. Same muscle, they just somehow decided to change the name all of a sudden. Origin, proximal calf of fibula, lateral condyle of tibia, inserts on the medial cuneiform metatarsal 1. Nerve is superficial fibular nerve, and it maintains the arch while pushing off. Okay, so that's very important. So the longus and brevis do the same thing. That's found in the shaft of the fibula, base of metatarsal 5. So if your longus is metatarsal 1, fibularis is metatarsal 5, they both maintain the arch or the concavity of your sole. Okay. Now, muscles of the lower leg, the muscles of the anterior compartment of the lower leg are generally responsible for dorsiflexion, and the muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg are generally responsible for plantar flexion. So dorsiflexion, your foot comes up; plantar flexion, your foot comes down. Okay, and the lateral and medial compartments are both compartments for inverting and everting and rotating the foot. So posterior compartment muscles plantar flex the foot and flex the toes, while the anterior compartment dorsiflexes the foot and extends the toes. Here's the deeper layers. You've got popliteus. Now the popliteus is a great muscle because a lot of times people often neglect this, but runners that run on uneven terrain, this little guy is responsible for the screw home mechanism of the knee, and sometimes you can get some tendinosis of the popliteus, or you can get some tightness in here. And if you work the back of your knee and really try to free that up, a lot of your knee pain will go away. So runners should check that. And again, don't go push right back here because there's blood supply there, but you want to go a little bit inferior and medial and really try to find that popliteus muscle, which is deep to the gastroc. So you'd probably work a little gastroc soft tissue, soleus soft tissue. But once you free that up, your knee's going to feel a lot better. Ah, yes. Look at those turtle calves. That is amazing. Gastroc and soleus. Originates on the lateral condyle and popliteal surface of the femur. Inserts on the calcaneus. The nerve supply is the tibial nerve. And what does it do? It plantar flexes. This is plantar flexes the foot. And it also flexes the knee because it's a two-joint muscle, so it attaches above here. So if you wanted to just work the soleus, you would do heel raises with the knees bent. So you take out the gastroc. Soleus is the proximal third of tibia and fibula, inserts on the calcaneus. So both of them, they form a common tendon called the Achilles tendon. So that's your Achilles right there. Okay, there's your Achilles. Here's the nerve supply is tibia, and it plantar flexes the foot and steadies the leg. So remember Michael Jackson, how he used to do that where he leaned forward? Well, that was soleus keeping him there. Little do we know that he actually locked in his shoes and wasn't a smooth criminal after all. So Achilles tendon ruptures. Remember Kobe, rest in peace. You got Kevin Durant. And then some other honorable mentions, Boogie Cousins, Charles Barkley actually, Dominique Wilkins, the Human Highlight film, Patrick Ewing, and Elton Brand. Okay, Chauncey Billups as well. Posterior leg, you got tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus, flexor digitorum longus, that's in the back. The way that people remember this is pulley system. Here is the medial malleolus. So you remember it, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Tom is posterior tib, Dick is flexor digitorum longus, and hallucis is Harry, flexor hallucis longus. So those are the three tendons. So T, D, M, posterior tib, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus. Flexor hallucis longus originates on the shaft of the fibula, inserts on the distal phalanx of 1. So here we go. Flexor right here. Flexor digitorum longus, mid-shaft, inserts on the distal phalanges of 2 through 5. Okay. And then you have your arches, provide arch support and location. You got the quadratus plantae. You've heard of plantar fasciitis, so there's a plantar fascia that can get ripped here. I think Goran Dragic is what he tore from the Miami Heat. I still believe in the Lakers even though they lost. Ventral inferior muscles help flex the toes. Now, here's barefoot. This is what your feet should be, but look where your feet are in high heels. Right? Look at the stress that you put on there. So high heels and look how high this is, so you lose the absorption factor. So you can have knee pain, low back pain, plantar fasciitis, metatarsalgia, bunions, and Haglund's deformities, all based on that. But you'll still wear them. You'll still wear them. This means nothing to you. Like Patel, me da igual, as they say, right? I don't care. All right, it's all connected. High heels can harm more than just your feet. You get nasty looking deformities like that, but it puts stress on your hamstrings. Hamstrings cause tightness that can limit range of motion, make the legs feel tender. It can cause low back pain. Cascade effect from lower body stress pulls on your lower back, resulting in dull, sharp, or shooting sensations. Sciatica. The pelvis, tense hamstrings pull on the pelvis, causing tightness in the glutes. Calf muscles, tension in the Achilles makes your calf muscles shorten, causing shin splints or cramps when you don't wear high heels and you go running. And then plantar fascia inflammation here results in pain in the heel. So, ooh, guess who this belongs to? You'll never unsee this image. I cannot get it out of my head, but guess whose feet this is? Yes, that's Shaq's. It's crazy. I think size 20 something. Unreal. All right. Again, the intrinsic full muscles of the foot, just like you have intrinsic muscles of the hand, you have these intrinsic muscles of the foot. Quadratus plantae, flexor hallucis, flexor digiti minimi, adductor hallucis. Now, so to end it all, we want to do your big six. Do the big six and you'll target pretty much all the muscles that we've been talking about the last 2 days here. So the big six, we want the squat, we want the bench, and we want rows. Okay, so squat, bench, and rows. For the deadlift, workout B, you do the deadlift, you do the press, and then you do pull-ups. Okay, so those are your big six, basically. Squats, deadlifts, bench press, press, rows, and pull-ups. All right. All right. Good luck. Let's go to the gym, work out.